Hi everyone, welcome to another action-packed altcoin Bible and crack straight in today. Early this morning, depending on where you are in the world. Here in Australia, we had the US CPI print as well as core. They both came in a little bit higher. And as most people were expecting the bearish narrative to play out, we did get a drawback, but then we had markets just whipsaw to the other side. So we are sort of seeing now that as everyone gets clued in, as the consensus is all aware of CPI, you start thinking about how the last few figures are revised up, we're going to get that contraction, blah, blah, blah. If everyone's thinking one thing, market makers are going to do another and wreck everyone who are, either leveraged short or they're banking on one thing happening and then the other thing might happen. Regardless, we were expecting volatility. So up or down, doesn't matter. And right now we saw a tremendous pump the other direction. And right now I'm thinking this is probably a good time to look at resistance levels and see if we've actually made any progress whatsoever, because this could be a bit of a false pump before we just have another contraction. So I'm a bit wary. A lot of these altcoins look like they are a little bit weak around a resistance. Some of them haven't broken through what they needed to. So that's what I'm looking at. Bitcoin, look, just broadly, I would not be getting too bullish on what's just happened here until we see, until we see something more along the lines of, sorry about the interruption there, until we see 23,000 really taken out with gusto, and then of course 25,000 200-week moving average. So until then, I think this is just more volatility. We've got a big week ahead of us with more data coming out of the US. It is not going to be all bad. It's not going to be all good, and markets are going to do what they feel like it, but just be prepared for chop. All right, I wanted to get into my first crypto, which is my danger zone this week. I could have looked at quite a few cryptos, which I'm just not liking the look of. Even if they are pumping, they're pumping into resistance, so just beware. Now, I wanted to go with an obvious one. So Binance Coin, the major issues around the Binance USD token, BUSD. Paxos is no longer able to mint new BUSD, so the SEC is coming hard down on those two entities. It is just by extension going to affect Binance. So the sentiment of Binance Coin is going to take a little bit of a hit, and it has. So since that news came out, it's essentially just been falling away. And we saw BNB lose this key horizontal here at around about, let's just say 300, the psychological level, but I'd probably more put it around 297. This here, now we're just sort of falling down here towards this volume profile. RSI looks pretty horrible. And I've got the 200-day moving average here. Look, I expect it to come down and retest that about 287. If it loses that, then it's coming down to this range here. But just with everything hanging over the head of BUSD, now I won't go on what the exchange is doing from here. I suspect it's all fine. They're going back to USDT and all that. However, in the short term, BNB technically and also fundamentally is just going to face, I think, a bit of headwind. So that's why I have it as my danger zone. So if you're looking to get in here, I'd watch that key support level, the 200-day moving average, looking for buys around there and playing that as well, riding with a tight stop loss. If you want to get in and just look for value, I'd say then look for that next support level. But so far, you would not be getting too carried away with this or bullish for that matter, unless it's reclaimed this key horizontal and volume support and then uses that as a cushion to move higher. So they're the kind of levels you'd be looking for in the danger zone. But for now, downside looks to be reasonably good. All right, now for my cherry ripe, I'm actually going to go a little bit unorthodox here. I'm going to go for two that are relatively new on the scene and a lower market cap. I could have gone some higher market caps, but a lot of them do look the same. And again, I wanted to be a bit fresh here. LooksRare token. This is a NFT exchange platform token, quite popular, significantly down from all-time high, it's 90-something%. But I've been following it for a bit here, and it's showing some signs of life. And it broke out of this massive falling wedge here, broke up through the huge volume profile, broke up through the 200-day moving average as well, that blue line there. And then it broke this horizontal support. So this very key level, you can see how it was adhered to many times, and underneath, bang, 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 bang. Couldn't even get back up to it here, but we've broken back through it. We've come back down. And if I draw the Fibonacci retracement over that, so these are just mathematical levels that the market tends to adhere to in terms of pullbacks, you can see that we came almost all the way down to 0.786, reclaimed the 0.618, retest it as support there, which is lovely. And then we got above the 0.5% retracement, and we're just sort of hanging on top of this horizontal. What I want to look for is a confluence of indicators telling me that this is now flipped in a positive way, but so far so good. I can see a positive trend here, higher highs, higher lows all the way up. The positive trend is very obvious to me there. But what I want to see here, and it looks like it is, it's holding this horizontal support. And this is huge horizontal support just through there. So if we come back down and retest, then LooksRare's off to the races. And then it's coming up here to maybe test out some of these highs over here. But I suspect the next major volume level is around about 0.46. So that would be a pretty nice move off LooksRare. I'm not really looking at the RSI at this stage. I think that is okay on the daily. It's just what the key horizontals are doing for me. And right now, this crypto token that's coming back and retesting this, huge support level, and I'll just zoom in just a little bit more there. This red candle here, if we can close above this support, then I think we're moving through some of this volume and going higher. So it looks reasonably bullish to me, but again, some of these tokens you just want to ride with a tight stop loss. If you are trading it, if you're investing in it, this is not a bad place to DCA, and next level will be back down near the 200-day moving average and not much in between, but you'd look with the Fibonacci retracement levels as well. All right, another cherry ripe I just want to show you is the AI token narrative that still seems to be popping up after a pretty significant pullback. It's still moving in a nice trend. It's had another consolidation. If I just zoom out as well, you can just see how that wedge, or that triangle rather, broke out to the upside. And now we've moved into this falling wedge of a consolidation and all the way up. I mean, I could zoom in and go to the 4 hour. I think I did this the other day for everyone to see, but it was just pretty phenomenal. Yeah, look at that. Look at all those triangles just continuously breaking up in this beautiful stepping stone trend high. And look at this consolidation, and very clearly see that trend underneath. It's broken up through it. So for me, this looks like a pretty good sign, and it's now coming back to retest this volume support. Hopefully that can work out some of this momentum that's looking like it's trailing off. The RSI doesn't look too bad. Stock RSI looks like it might be just having that crossover pullback a bit deeper in here, maybe comes back a little bit further. But for me, if you're looking at this on the longer term time frame, you've got the narrative of AI. It looks to be pretty clean breakthrough there. And generally what you want to look for if you're looking for where this might go, you could do the Fibonacci extension, sure. I generally just like to go with how big that is. So that's about that there. So potentially another 80% move here from there in terms of a breakout. Generally it's the size of the pattern, or the top to the bottom of the largest width of the pattern there. So for me, that's probably a good spot, but very difficult to know in this market environment. Plus the capital flows, you're just not sure. And when a token is moving into all-time high, it was moving into clear sky all-time highs, you just don't really know when it's going to stop. So you have to pay attention to those lower time frames. Look for that volume coming in and RSIs weakening, all that, and then structural breaks. If this lost this here, if it loses that here, just like over here as well, if it lost this level here, this higher low structure, if it loses and breaks down, it's coming down to the next major level. So that's what you just need to look for. But so far, cherry ripe looks very, very lovely. Look, again, for entries here, you want to probably draw the Fibonacci retracement and just see how far back this could go according to the levels. So excuse me, I don't always cover where you can buy in, but I'm going to do this in this instance. So swing low, swing high, I've just draw it over there. This confluent level of the 0.382 at 41 cents, or essentially 42 cents. That's the level I'd be really looking for, but it could also drop down to 40 cents. I don't know how likely it is, just depending on this volume. And if it did, you'd probably think that it's coming down a bit lower. So keep that in mind, guys. All right, one to watch. In this mode as well, I have two that I'm looking at. And that is Ethereum, second largest crypto by market cap. I still like Ethereum here. I was liking it was just going into this bull flag here. It broke down from that flag. And again, it's a flag. It's not a bull flag, not a bear flag. But for me, it was a bull flag in the sense that it's following the trend. Generally, these patterns break out in a continuation of the trend. So you can see this massive flagpole here, and then it went into here. I suspect it was going to break higher, but the market had other ideas. That's fine. Does that, broke the bottom, came down here. And if you're looking at the Fibonacci retracement drawn from the swing low to the swing high, you can see here it's come down to the 0.382. Just couldn't get any lower than that. I was expecting this box in here was going to get a bit of a look in because of this volume here. If it breaks down to these key volume levels, generally it gaps down to that next area. It still might, but so far this looks like a pretty clean break and a retest of support there for Ethereum at around about 1,500. It's just bounced here. The real test will be when it comes up to this heavy resistance area and volume support around 1,560. and the bottom side or the underside of that previous pattern that was there. And also you can draw a horizontal instead there. Regardless, I like the look of Ethereum here in the midterm. This RSI trend is very, very clear. When this breaks this RSI trend line, I'd be getting quite bullish on it as well. You can see the momentum starting to tick up as well as the stock RSI. So things are lining up for me for Ethereum there. This is one to watch, but I could probably throw it in the cherry ripe category as well. Really, really like it. And again, I enjoy in these, especially when coming out of bear markets, you really have to stick to those lower risk cryptos of like a Bitcoin, of like Ethereum, higher market cap choices. Because it just lowers your risk in these environments. Liquidity is low. We're just not seeing new money being thrown at the moment. You have to be very, very conscious of risk. Okay, another one to watch is Dogecoin here. So Dogecoin had a pretty epic rising wedge that broke down back over here on the 6th of Feb, and it's just been careering down ever since. It looks like it has found a bottom here at 0.618, so the Fibonacci retracement of 0.618. So these are all great areas to buy. Dogecoin's now just climbed back above the next level, so 0.5. So I like that. I think this is definitely one to watch, and Dogecoin can run really hard. We're seeing momentum tick up. We're seeing the RSI just creep up gradually. It's coming back to retest the 0.5. I like that. If it can hold here and close above this 0.5 level, then Dogecoin, there's every chance it comes back up and tests that next area and tries to start a new positive trend higher. Generally, you see these kind of things work out. If you see a pattern that ends up being bearish, so this was a bearish pattern to begin with, but when it breaks bearish, and you can see here it just follows down, it has to correct, has to find itself. And then if the overall, the macro trend of the market is higher, which I think it is, then it will find that correction, that corrective support, and move to a new high. And you can just see this big bowl will be formed, and then it will, just climb its way out. So very, very interesting if you see these patterns play out. In bear markets. So last year, if you saw this play out, this rising wedge play out to the downside, instead of the possibility or the high probability that it's going to move out of here, the bias would be on the bears. So that it would break down again and maybe form a new wedge here and break down. So I think that's the regime that's changed. It's how we need to rejig our mindset and how we're thinking about that recency bias of last year, how this is likely a new phase of the market, a new trend is developing, especially in Bitcoin. So just be aware of that. That's all true and good unless Bitcoin breaks down from a key structural level, and then we know that this has been a dead cat bounce and not a new trend. So again, be aware there's multiple layers here, and that's exactly what we go through with our clients. So hope you enjoyed this video, everyone. Take it easy, and we'll catch you again next time. Bye.